Where's your sense of urgency? Where is your sense of urgency? That's something I got to remind myself on a day-to-day basis, because it's something that I take for granted. I don't spend the time to actually truly pay attention to my time. And that is the most valuable thing that you and I have, is our time. Because I guarantee, if you were asked to, if someone gave you the ability to swap places with an older individual, someone who you deem as wealthy or whatever, like, I guarantee at your current stage in life, you wouldn't take that opportunity, or you wouldn't take it. You would not allow yourself to swap spots with someone who was a multimillionaire or a billionaire who was at the tail end of his life. Like, he was only maybe guaranteed 5 more years when you're in your 30s, or you're in your 40s, or you're in your 50s, or you're in your 60s. Like, chances are you're not swapping with that person, because you know, regardless of how much money that person has, they're very limited as far as the amount of time they have available to them for the remainder of their life. Which is why time is our most valuable asset. It's our most valuable asset. And we don't treat it as such. And I know for a fact that I haven't treated it as such in my lifetime. There's no sense of urgency. I don't take the time to actually plan out my day-to-day actions in the way that I should. I know what I want to get done. I know what I need to get done. I know the things that I have to get done. But it's all in my mind. It's not something that I'm actually sitting down and saying, you know what? I need to make sure that I'm planning and scheduling things out so that I, 1, wake up and get straight to them, and 2, I'm knocking out the most important things, the most valuable things first and foremost. I'm not waiting or procrastinating to try to finish the things that I know are probably the most important things, but are most time consuming, or the things that I would like to do the least. Because the reality is, the things that you least want to do are probably the things that's going to get you further in life. Those are the actions that you actually take that will get you to seeing the type of results that you're looking to see in your lifetime. I know for me, even shooting this video right now, this isn't an easy thing for me. For a couple of different reasons. One, for the simple fact that I'm still new at recording and just like being in front of the camera. Like, this isn't natural. This doesn't come natural to me. Like, this is something that I actually gotta like take time with, and I really gotta put effort into trying to come off as natural, because this is not natural. And I don't really care who you are. I don't think this is a natural thing. Like, unless you've been going to acting classes or something like that for so long, just having a camera in front of you just doesn't come off as natural. Even though I'm not, and when I say that, I'm not saying that this is coming off as forced or like I'm acting and I'm not being myself, but just having your life be on Front Street and being documented isn't something that just comes naturally to most people. So that's number one. Secondly, it's like, I just don't know what I'm going to talk about a lot of times. Like, I have an idea of what I'm going to talk about, but this is where the planning comes into play. I don't actually sit down, or I haven't up to this point sat down and said, you know what, today, this is what I'm going to talk about. Here's like some notes on that topic and on that subject, and then we're going to go through those notes, and then boom, 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 bam, and boom, now my video's done. It's more so, okay, I want to talk about this. Let's see what comes to mind. Turn on the camera, and then we just gonna go for it. Hope for the best. But results don't come that way. Results come from actually planning out some stuff, from actually knowing exactly what the end goal is, and then make sure that you're taking the steps in order to get to that next or that end goal to see the results. And that's how you actually go about succeeding in anything. You got to have your long-term goal out there, and you want to break that into smaller short-term goals that you know you can accomplish today, within the next week, within the next month, so on and so forth, leading up to whatever that long-term goal is. So, with all that being said, just make sure that you don't take your time for granted. You know, actually schedule out your days, plan out your days, know exactly what you need to do in order to get to your end goal. Have your goal in mind, have all this stuff written down. Have a board in your home where all of your goals are written down. Like, all of this stuff is stuff that I say this a lot, and it's like, I'm not trying to preach to nobody when I'm speaking to the camera. If anything, for me, this is like notes for myself. Like note to self. Like, hey, you know what you need to do. You know exactly where you're trying to go. In order to get there, these are the things that you need to do. And it's a reminder for myself to do these things. Because if you don't, you're not going to see the results that you oh so badly want to see. And so that's where I'm at with it. It's a shorter video. I'm not going to go too in depth further than I already have. I think a lot of people know that time is essential. Time is finite. It's limited, and it's not something that you have forever. You're not going to have it forever. Like, it's here today, and it could be gone tomorrow. You could not necessarily be here tomorrow. And I think we really don't sit and actually think about how true that is. There was another plane incident that just happened coming out of Minneapolis, and I'm in Minneapolis, to Toronto. Now, everyone survived the crash. The plane flipped over. But I know in those people's minds, they were thinking like, oh, shoot, this could be my last moment as the plane is flipping and doing what it was doing. And I think that we really take for granted the fact that, you know, we're here now, and we have to be able to like take advantage of every single moment that's given to us, because we don't know when we're going to go. We know it's a certainty that we're going at some point. We just have no idea when that's going to be. That's between God and whoever, you know, him, like he's speaking to. Like, he makes that decision, but we have no idea when that could be. I could be sitting right now talking to y'all on this camera like I'm doing, and the next thing I know, something happens and I'm out of here. Anything random could happen and I'm out of here. I'm not thinking in my mind like, oh, this could be my last moment. It just happens in an instant. And so while we're here, we really have to take advantage of this opportunity, because you could have been anybody. I know for me, like I sit around and think about certain things like this. You can call me weird or whatever. Like, I have a mind that just kind of veers off into random stuff at times. But I could have not been who I am today. Had my mom and dad not met when they met, had they not had sex the moment they had sex, I could have been aborted. There's so many different things that could have occurred to lead me to not be here. Like, it's a miracle that I am a living, breathing being right now. And so it's a pretty big miracle that I'm here. Because what are the chances? And it's like, we really take that for granted. And I'm trying my hardest to not be that person that just like has regrets as I get older. When I'm on my deathbed, I don't want to look back and be like, man, I wish I would have done that. I wish I could have done this differently. I should have done that. Like, I need to take advantage of the fact that I have all of these different opportunities and things at my disposal that they didn't have before. The ability to even think that I can turn on this camera and develop an audience, grow an audience, and then like monetize that is just insane. Because that's something that they didn't have 10 years ago, 20 years ago. I'll say 20 years. 10 years ago, they still had it. But 20 years ago, it wasn't a thing. 30 years ago, definitely wasn't a thing.